All right, hello. We are back. Aaron Von Hana here. We're doing project number 3 of my IT portfolio. We're doing MDM, mobile device management, and we're doing a device deployment using Microsoft Intune right here. We also have Microsoft Entra ID as well. And basically, what we're going to do is we're going to do a walkthrough of a real compliance incident where we have a new hire and they have their device given to them from the company, like let's say a laptop, and the device gets blocked from company compliance policies on day one. They don't know why, so they put in a ticket. Let's get into it. So basically, what we have here is Microsoft Intune. And under all devices, we can see all the devices that would be under our Microsoft Intune in the company. And just for the sake of this project, we're using my host machine, my computer. So that's basically the employee in this case that we're simulating here. So this will be the employee's device, and we show in the compliance that it's non-compliant, and then we can show under the compliance policy. If we click on compliance here and have it load, there we go. The compliance policy, properties, and then we can show that what is required is the BitLocker is required. That's encryption. And we need the firewall for system security and Microsoft Defender anti-malware. So that's what's basically required to fit the compliance policy within our company here with these devices. So it'll show through Microsoft Intune as well as in Microsoft Entra uh, under the compliance policy when we go into uh, the user here, Alie Layus. It's the fictional um, employee that we have, same one as the last project. And you can see under the same device, this is the compliance here. We pretty much made it so that the firewall compliant, the anti-malware compliant, but the BitLocker, the encryption, is not enabled, and that shows as non-compliant. So whenever Alie tries to log in to get into her file shares and everything like that, she'll receive a message that shows that she's not able to get into the resources. And we have screenshots for that in the GitHub. So it's a pretty common real world scenario with usually personally owned devices, BYOD devices, company issued laptops, typically shipped with BitLocker pre-configured. So as a personal machine brought into the corporate environment, often doesn't have it enabled. So this is the simulation of that. So we just pulled up my virtual machine where I usually host my OS ticket. So this is what the ticket is. We got ticket 617768 done by the user Alie Layus, our fictional employee here. And I assigned it to myself. And this is her ticket. So she says that she just got her laptop set up for the week. She tried to log into the company portal and wouldn't let her in. She typed in her email and password just fine, and it took her to a page that says you can't get there from here. Something about my device needing to meet a compliance policy, and that's the BitLocker thing. I didn't change any settings or anything on my end. The only thing that happened recently is my antivirus, my computer, at least personally, my actual host machine had Norton. Uh, Made me, so we'll say that Alie had Norton too, made me resubscribe and reinstall it. It had me restart my computer, but that's it. I need to get into my email and company portal for work stuff today if possible. Let me know what you need from me, or if I need to bring the laptop in. So that's her ticket. So once we get there, I pretty much made an internal note. Step one, we identify the problem here. Alie reports being blocked from company resources on her new laptop. Um, I'm, this is honestly a desktop, my host machine, so that's the name of it for now. Simulated, of course. After a successful login, a message referenced a device compliance requirement. So we checked Microsoft Intune. We went to devices, all devices. We clicked on the device, and it's showing non-compliant. And we showed that earlier where it was compliant with the firewall, with the anti-malware, but not BitLocker. So she mentioned Norton 360 forced a reinstall. Initially suspected that this is a firewall-related side effect, but the compliance detail rules that out because it showed that firewall was compliant. So BitLocker is actually the failing setting here. So next what we do is we confirm whether the conditional access policy is enforcing this compliance requirement at the sign-in, which would explain why she's fully blocked rather than just flagged. So we just give a response saying we're going to look into it, and then we'll get back to her with any following steps. So now we go into step 2 in the CompTIA 6-step methodology here. Now we establish the theory of probable cause. So the working theory is the device is a personal device and BitLocker was never enabled on it prior to enrollment. This is a common gap for personally owned hardware that wasn't provisioned through a standard corporate imaging process, unlike what regular companies would do. They would normally have that inside before it's shipped to the employee. The Norton reinstall restart likely isn't the issue at all here. Also confirmed the conditional access policy is assigned to Alie's account, requiring device compliance to access any company resource. So this explains why she's fully blocked at sign-in rather than seeing a warning. Intune flags the device, and Entra ID's conditional access enforces the actual block. So the theory here, enabling BitLocker on the device will bring it back to compliance, and once Intune resyncs, the conditional access block will lift automatically, so no policy changes would be needed. So now, step 3, we test the theory. We re-verified the per setting compliance breakdown on the device and the compliance policy to confirm BitLocker is genuinely the isolated failure point, not a symptom of something broader. So the results are consistent with the earlier check, only BitLocker is failing. So this confirms the theory that the block is caused specifically by disk encryption not being enabled and not the Norton 360 or anything like that. So we also confirmed in the conditional access policy is functioning as expected, and we tested it in report only mode first. And then after that, we switched it to enforce it on, and the live block was reproduced exactly as Alie described it. So we confirmed both the theories there. BitLocker is the sole compliance failure, and the conditional access is correctly enforcing that block. So next we do a plan of attack here. The plan, since this is genuinely a compliance gap rather than a policy misconfiguration, the correct fix is to bring the device into compliance. And it's an easy fix. So we just confirmed that with Alie, that BitLocker needs to be enabled on her device. We walk through enabling it, and we do it step by step based on what device she could have. And then we advise her to keep the laptop plugged in and connected to the network during encryption. Typically, you do that with through the Wi-Fi, or you have her do it direct connect with the Ethernet cable RJ45s. And then we let her know Intune will need one sync cycle after encryption completes before the compliance updates, and she can be able to log back in again. So what we do is go back in a ticket and we talk to her. Hi, Alie. Thanks for your patience. I confirmed what's going on. Your laptop's drive encryption, which is called BitLocker, it's not turned on yet. And that's required for security as a setting for any device accessing companies' resources. So once it's on, you'll be back in without any further action needed from us. And then we just run her through the steps on how to turn it on. You go to settings, privacy and security, and then device encryption. So for her, it would look like this. You go into, type in like Windows settings or something like that, and you get settings right here, privacy and security right here, and then device encryption. You can see it's off. Turn on the encryption BitLocker for your main drive and keep your laptop plugged in connected to the Wi-Fi while it encrypts. It takes a while depending on your drive size. Once it's done, just leave the laptop on and connected for a bit longer so I can check back in our system. You shouldn't need to do anything else after that. And then Let us know if it's finished. If it's still blocked for a while, we'll take another look. Now, this is just simulated for the sake of the project. Alie Layus would be replying back to us. Hi, just want to let you know that turn on the encryption thing. Left it plugged in for a while, like you said. I tried logging in again and it worked. So basically, what Alie would do on her side is she'd go into settings, privacy, security, device encryption, turn it on. Now, the reason why I'm not turning it on is because I'm using my host machine. And uh, when you turn that on, you do need an encryption key, and you should get like a USB stick or a hard drive or something to save all of that encryption in. And my host device right now, that's not needed for that. So that's why I'm keeping it off. But if this were a company's device or something like that, you definitely want that turned on. And definitely keep those encryption keys and things like that. And usually you would keep those encryption keys inside Active Directory as well. And then going back into the ticket, we write another note. We're on step 5. We verify the full system functionality. We basically go back into Intune and show it compliant. So we would go back into here. We would just keep refreshing until the resync shows up. We can even do like go into devices on Microsoft Intune here. All devices. And then we would find Alie's device, right? Click on it. Then it'll load. And then this button right here, sync, we would just click sync. And then at that point, we can wait for it to show compliant here. And then we even go into like Entra ID, or you can even keep it in Intune. Go into device compliance. Non-compliant for this device. And just keep refreshing up until it says compliant, because once you flip on that switch, that's what should do it. And then we're going back into the ticket here. Yeah, we just verify the system. It'll show compliant, and then we just document it all. So here's the documentation. The root cause is her personal device failed the compliance policy due to BitLocker not being on. We resolve it by having the user enable the BitLocker on the affected device. No changes were made to the conditional access policy or compliance policy, so both were confirmed as working as designed throughout this incident. Device resync with Intune, compliance status updated to compliant, and access was automatically restored. And then basically for future onboarding, so if anyone was to look into this ticket, if anyone else had a similar problem, they could look at this ticket and see this note here. Personally owned devices should have BitLocker verified as enabled during initial setup before conditional access enforcement is applied to avoid first-day access disruptions for new hires. And then we consider the ticket resolved. So we just write back to her, glad you're back in. Just to close the loop, the issue was your laptop's drive encryption wasn't turned on yet, which is required security setting for companies' devices. This is that cybersecurity thing. Know that it's enabled. Now that it's enabled, everything should be working normally without further action needed. If anything comes up, let us know. And then we just close the ticket. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, so basically the takeaway from this is that the identity layer and the device layer are two separate things, right? So with Allie's credentials, they were fine the whole time. It was her device that was out of the compliance policy. So knowing which layer is a problem gets you to the root cause a lot faster. So the full documentation, the screenshots, and the OS ticket thread, all in the GitHub repo linked down below, and that's about it. Thank you for watching.